My name is Steve Drovick. I'm a member of the board here at Tennessee Valley Unitarian Church. And on behalf of the board and the program council, welcome. Wherever you're from, whoever you are, whether you're here or you're watching us online, you're welcome with us. If you're a first-time visitor or a visitor who's been here a couple of times and you'd like more information about the church, we have visitor cards in the back pockets if you're with us, or if you're online on the website, there will be a selection labeled Stay in Touch, and you can tell us more information about you. If you're visiting small children, we have a space up front that's easier for them to see what's going on. Don't feel like you have to keep them still. We recognize that silence is not silent. If you feel like you want to take them out, there is a room there in the back, the E.E. Cummings room, and you can see and hear the entire service from there as well if you'd like. And if you're interested in classes here for your children here at TVUUC, there's information on our website under the religious education section. So our speaker today is Mark Mohundro. He has been a Unitarian Universalist since 2003, initially at First UU of Richmond, Virginia, and then he joined us here at TVUC in 2012. Mark was born in Knoxville, but he's lived in many other places, including Louisiana and Germany. His scope of experience is wide and varied, and he's most proud of the work he's done for one of my favorite organizations, Planned Parenthood of Middle and East Tennessee, as a grassroots organizer and front desk coordinator. He's a longtime supporter of multiple social justice causes. Most of his advocacy work has been involved with abortion rights, gender equality, anti-racism, and anti-oppression work. Mark is currently an active member of TUUC, of course, serving on our Reproductive Justice Task Force and Adult Religious Education Committee, as well as being on the church's staff as the prospective new member coordinator. So if you've been through the new membership program, you already know Mark. On a personal note, my observation of Mark is he's probably one of the hardest working people in social justice and advocacy that I know. He's full of energy. He never takes a rest. When he had a few health issues last year, we had to kind of remind him, you have to take care of yourself first. He kept wanting to jump back into things, so we had to remind him of that old adage, you know, when the oxygen masks come down, you got to put yours on first. So anyway, so this is a good time, if you haven't already, to silence your phones. After the service, join us for coffee and conversation in the fellowship hall. If you need any more information or tour, I'll be there to greet everybody. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mark Mohundro. I'm a 57-year-old man with rapidly graying hair. I'm wearing a burgundy shirt and I'm wearing glasses. Our opening words today are from Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto. We hold hope close. In this community, we hold hope close. We don't always know what comes next, but that cannot dissuade us. We don't always know what to do, but that does not mean we are lost in the wilderness. We rely on the certainty beneath the foundations of our values and ethics. We are the people who return to love like a North Star and to the truth that we are greater than we are alone. Our hope does not live in some glimmer of an indistinct future. Rather, we know the way to the world of which we dream, and by covenant and movement forward of one right action and the next, we know that that day will arrive at home. Come, let us worship together. Please remain standing and turn to hymn number 123 in the gray hymnal, Spirit of Life. 123 in the gray hymnal.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Help me with the mic. If I get it too far away from me, somebody wave and let me know. I'm Ed Mohundro, Mark's dad. A recent member of this, joined this church, and I'm just glad to be here. I'm going to share a couple of readings with you this morning. And the first one is from a book by Rebecca Solnit. It's titled Hope in the Dark. It covers untold histories and wild possibilities, but this is a small excerpt. There is a history model based on cause and effect. This model assumes that history marches forward, but history is not like an army. It's like a crab scuttling about. It's like dripping water wearing away stone. It's like an earthquake relieving centuries of tension. Sometimes one person can change history. Sometimes it takes a few people that are dedicated and start to change the world. They start a mass movement, and millions are stirred by the same outrage or the same ideal. And when this happens, change comes on us like the change of weather. All of these transformations have one thing in common. They take place with hope. Now, hope is to gamble. It's to bet on the future and on the possibility that with an open heart and uncertainty that there's something better than gloom. Also, to hope is dangerous, and it's opposite of the fear. Hope is not a lottery ticket that you can clutch and hold on a sofa. It's more like an axe that you use to break down a door. And hope should shove you out of that door, because it will take everything you have to steer away our future from endless wars, from the destruction of Earth's treasures, and to the grinding down of the poor and the marginal. To hope is to give yourself to the future.
Thank you, Ed. My name is Tina Becker. Good morning. I'm a member of the spiritual care team, and here at TVUUC, and David Massey couldn't be with us this morning, so I'm filling in. The spiritual care team is we are heart-centered, deep listeners who, along with many of you, see to the caring needs of the congregation. We answer TVUUC's pastoral call line during the day and early evenings 7 days a week, and respond to phone messages as soon as we hear them. That number is in your order of service and in the weekly newsletter. This is the time in our service when we give voice to the joys and concerns of the congregation. The holidays are a time when many of us travel across time or across the country to be with family and friends. But for some in our community, travel is impossible. Such is the case with Lynn Mullins, who remains a resident at Viva Senior Living in Oak Ridge. Lynn is feeling lonely and isolated at times. She loves cards and company, but especially company. When you visit, take her some cookies, which she loves. You can get the address of Viva Senior Living at the caring table in the fellowship hall. For those who have visited Lynn in the past, this is the same facility, but with a new name. The holidays are also difficult for those of us who are navigating delicate relationships and others of us missing a loved one who has passed on. On this last Sunday of the year, when we think over the ups and downs of 2024 and hope for the best in the year ahead, we all join together in supporting one another, sharing our sorrows and our joys, lifting each other up, and reveling in the joy of beloved community. Here's a joy for our entire congregation. Thanks to Reverend Vice, Gordon Gibson, and others, we have strengthened our ties with the NAACP and KICMA, which is pronounced KICMA, which is the Knoxville Interdenominational Christian Ministerial Alliance. These two groups are inviting us to attend the annual Emancipation Service, which traditionally celebrates the Emancipation Proclamation and also lifts up other causes, such as the need to support public schools and oppose school vouchers, and the teaching of accurate American history, and to stay in the fight to dismantle racism and other oppressions. This is always an inspiring service. It begins at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, January 1st at Mount Zion Baptist Church on Brooks Avenue in East Knoxville. I know I will be attending. Finally, please stop by the caring table in the Greg McHenry Fellowship Hall to add your name to messages of support that will be mailed to those in need of our good wishes. Steve and Stephanie Say are volunteering at the table this morning. For all these joys and concerns, as well as those held in privacy or that are unknown to us, let us join together in singing, Sending You Light. The words are printed in your order of service.
We will now enter into a time of shared silence, followed by spoken prayer. Spirit of life, who draws us together in a web of holy relationships, make your presence known with us and in us and among us. Remind us that we are not alone in history. Ignite us with the courage of the living tradition. Remind us that we are not alone in entering the future. Anchor us with patience and perseverance. Remind us that we are not alone in our times of grief and pain. Comfort us with your Spirit, manifest in human hands and voices. Remind us that we are not alone in joy and wonder. Inspire us to honor and extend the beauty we find in this world. Divine music of the universe, let our hearts beat in diverse and harmonious rhythms, cooperating with an everlasting dance of love. May we move with the rhythms of peace. May we move with the rhythms of compassion. May we move with the rhythms of justice. Source of stars and planets, and water and land, open our hearts to all of our neighbors. Open our hands to join together in the work ahead. Open our souls to a renewal of faith. So be it. Blessed be. Amen. Today's offering is for Generosity Sunday. Any donations today will go directly to the operating fund of TVUUC. There are several ways to give. You can do a cash or check in the baskets that will be going around. The kiosk, well, there's not a kiosk in the, right now, but it's broken. You can give a gift by text message by sending TV UUC and the amount 73256, and you can also go to our website.
Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine to be prepared? You know, I'm scared to be prepared. Yes, I'm scared, but I know from brokenness comes hope. Yes, I know from brokenness there's hope. I know
is coming. What do
from
we need to
brokenness there's
imagine?
hope. I know
Is coming. What do
from
we need to
brokenness there's hope.
imagine?
I know
Is coming.
You
What do we need to
I'm scared
I
to
know.
be. Yes,
What do we
I
need
am
to
scared.
I
Prepared. I know
What do we need to
I'm scared to be. Prepared.
What do we need to
I'm
there's
scared. Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine to be prepared? You know I'm scared to be prepared. Yeah, I am scared to be prepared. You know I'm scared to be prepared. You know
we need to
imagine change is coming. What do we need to imagine? Change is coming. What do we need to imagine?
Okay, I'm going to share our second reading. It's from a book written by Howard Zinn. Howard Zinn is an interesting person in our history. He was a combat veteran in the European theater from 1941 to 1945. He returns and he takes advantage of the opportunity to get a higher education under the GI Bill. He became a professor of history. He wrote several books. He wrote several plays. He was also quite an activist. So let's hear what he says in this paragraph from his book, You Can't Be Neutral on a Moving Train. To be hopeful in bad times is not foolishly romantic. It is based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but also a history of compassion, of sacrifice, of courage, and kindness. What we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine the direction of our lives. If we remember those times when they were the best, It gives us capacity to do something. If we remember those times when it was worse, it destroys our capacity to do something. If we remember where people were well behaved and did magnificent things, this will give us the energy to act. The possibility even of sending this spinning top of a whirl we have in another direction. And if we act even in a small way, we don't have to wait for that grand utopian future. The future is an infinite succession of the presents. And to live in the now, in defiance of all is bad, is a marvelous victory. So let's stand in body and spirit and turn to hymn 396. I know this rose will open.
And this is a round, and the choir will be moving to 4 positions where they will try to help your groups. So the group by the parking lot will, once we start the round portion, will break off first, and then this next section will break off into the second, the third, and the fourth. So you can watch the choir members with their souls and follow their mouths to sing when we get to the round portion. So we'll first sing it through all in unison, and then we'll break off, sing it through twice by yourselves, and then we will listen to each other, especially groups 1 and 3 will lead how we finish by repeating, I know this rose will open, several times over.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my soul will unfurl. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfold its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfold its wings. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open. I know this rose will open.
So here we are on the cusp of the new year that very likely will be fraught with some very dire possibilities. I have a sense of deja vu that we've been here before in the past few years, and we have been, but this time it feels heavier. Reproductive rights nationally are hanging by a thread. Nazis and fascists are marching in the streets openly in downtown Nashville. I'm very concerned about my friends in the LGBT community, some of whom are so terrified they moved to what will hopefully be a safe place to live. Immigrants are facing the specter of mass deportation. Our government has been bought by oligarchs, and a wannabe authoritarian is going to be the leader of our country. Let's all take a deep breath. It's a lot. In a world that often feels like a runaway train, hurtling through the landscape of conflict, injustice, and despair, hope can seem like an elusive, fragile dream. We are bombarded with news of violence, inequality, and environmental degradation. We witness the suffering of the marginalized and oppressed. We feel the weight of our own personal struggles and anxieties. In such times, it is natural to question whether hope has any place in our lives. Yet as Unitarian Universalists, we are called to be people of hope. We are called to hold on to the belief that a better world is possible, even in the face of overwhelming challenges. We are called to cultivate a spirit of resilience and to work for justice and compassion in all that we do. Hope is described in that reading by Howard Zinn as not just naive optimism that ignores the harsh realities of the world. It is a grounded and informed perspective that recognizes both the darkness and the light in human history. It is a choice to focus on possibilities for transformation and to draw inspiration from the countless acts of courage, kindness, and love that has shaped our heart and our world. Václav Havel, he was a Czech playwright, a dissident, and the first democratically elected president of Czechoslovakia after the communist government fell. He exemplifies this unwavering hope. Even from the confines of a prison cell, he envisioned a future of freedom and democracy in his country. Havel's hope was not rooted in the predication of success, but an orientation of the spirit, a commitment to working for what is good, regardless of the odds. Hope is not about predicting a positive outcome. It's about finding meaning and purpose in our actions, regardless of the results. It is the unwavering belief that something makes sense, that our lives have inherent value, and that our efforts to create a better world are not in vain. I let go of chasing the outcome of my activism a while ago. I've worked for reproductive rights for a good portion of my life, and I have been through some very hard campaigns that I've been on the losing end more than I've won. But that's not stopped me from having hope. It's pretty rough right now. Roe was struck down, and now there may be a national abortion ban. I really don't think I'll be around when all this gets fixed, but I'm okay with that. My hope is that the work I'm doing will be building blocks for a better tomorrow. Hope, in this sense, is not a passive waiting for things to improve. It is an active engagement in the world, a willingness to roll up our sleeves, get our hands dirty in the work of building a more just and compassionate society. The author Mariame Kaba wrote, "Hope does not preclude sadness or frustration or anger or any other emotion that makes sense. Hope is not an emotion, you know. Hope is not optimism. Hope is a discipline. We have to practice it every single day. Because hope requires effort to thrive, and it necessitates rejecting indifference. It's not about optimism, but rather a practice and discipline that's called active hope. This is described by Joanna Macy and Chris Johnston. Active hope involves 3 steps: honestly assessing reality, identifying desired outcomes or values, taking action to move towards those goals. Like I said, this practice does not require optimism and can be applied even in hopeless situations. It's guided by our intention, focusing on what we want to achieve rather than the probability of success. Active hope allows us to stay creative and strategic without denying the severity of our situation or neglecting our grief. And it doesn't guarantee victory against the odds, but it makes those victories possible. Hope is both a comfort and a strategic necessity. We must also create space for hope within our movements, avoiding echo chambers of doom, which I'm sure I've been part of. I can sound pretty grim talking about what next year could bring, or even in the years past. There are scary possibilities. I worry that I may contribute to someone's despair, and I also don't want to give anybody a false sense of hope. I went into a store last week looking for some Christmas presents. It was a store I haven't been to in a while. The owner is an acquaintance with me, and we called up with each other, and then we got on the subject of what may happen next year. It was a very realistic and heavy conversation. And when I have conversations like that, I can sound pretty bleak, but it doesn't mean I've given up hope. He posed a question to me near the end, asking me what would I say to someone about what we may face next year and still give them hope. That's a question I've been pondering for a while, and I'll circle back to the answer a little bit later on in the sermon. Hope is not simply something that happens to us. It is something we must actively cultivate. It requires practice, intentionality, and a willingness to confront both the darkness within ourselves and the injustices in the world around us. We can also find hope in the stories of those who have come before, like Martha and Wait Still Sharp. In February 1939, Wait Still Sharp was a young Unitarian minister from Boston, and he and his wife left for Czechoslovakia on a refugee mission. For months, the Unitarian Church had been receiving alarming reports from Prague over the plight of refugees. The Sharps arrived in Prague, home to the largest Unitarian church at that time in the world, with $28,000 in monetary aid. The Unitarian Church was already a step in front of the Nazis, having set up a secretive network of volunteers and agencies to secure the safe passage of both Jews and non-Jews out of Prague. This task became even more difficult on March 15, 1939, when the Nazis entered Prague. For the next 5 months, the Sharps continued their work, undaunted by the presence of the Gestapo, nor the danger of being arrested. In August 1939, the couple left Prague and headed back to the United States, barely escaping arrest. Only 10 months later, the Sharps returned to Europe again for their second mission. Setting up a refugee office in Lisbon, eventually they made their way to Nazi-occupied France to find ways to help refugees escape. And finally, in December 1940, after helping rescue thousands of people from the horrors of the Nazi persecution, Wait Still and Martha Sharp returned to the United States. We can cultivate hope by focusing on the positive aspects of human history, by remembering the countless times when people have behaved magnificently, when they have stood up for justice, and when they have created beauty and meaning in the face of adversity. We can cultivate hope by taking action, by recognizing that the future is not predetermined, but shaped by choices that we have in the present. Every act of kindness, every effort to create a more just and equitable world is a step towards a brighter future. As Unitarian Universalists, we are inheritors of a rich and diverse religious tradition that has championed the cause of hope. Our faith is rooted in our shared values, interdependence. We honor the independent web of all existence and acknowledge our place in it. Pluralism. We are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. Justice. We work to be a diverse, multicultural, beloved community where all feel welcome and all can thrive. Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. Generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. And equity. We declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. And love is at the center of us, and that holds us together with our shared values. Now, our shared values are not just words on a page. They are a call to action. They challenge us to live our faith in the world and be agents of hope and change. And hope is not easily maintained in the face of global and local problems. And despite the ever-present negativity and violence in the world, hope is necessary to continue making changes. Hope can be difficult and painful, but it is also essential for survival and a meaningful life. A couple of years ago, I came across, it made its rounds on Facebook and Twitter. It was a meme that said this: People speak of hope as if it is a delicate, ephemeral thing made of whispers and spider webs. It's not. Hope has dirt on her face, blood on her knuckles, the grit of cobblestones in her hair, and just spat out a tooth as she rises for another go. And I think all of us are feeling a little worse for wear over the last few years, and this image of hope certainly captures that feeling for me. And that's how my hope feels a lot of the times, just getting back up and getting back into it. I do take my time to rest, but I just keep on going. But there are still times when I get overwhelmed, when the weight of the world's suffering feels too heavy to bear. There have been times when I question whether my efforts are truly making a difference. It requires courage, resilience, and to embrace the uncertainty. It demands that we confront the darkness within ourselves and in the world around us. But hope is also what sustains us, what gives us the strength to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. In the words of Rebecca Solnit, hope is an axe you break down the doors when there is an emergency. It's not a passive state of waiting, but an active force that compels us to take action. Hope is the spark that ignites change, the catalyst that transforms despair into possibility. And hope is not about waiting for a grand utopian future. It is about living in the present as we human beings should live, about finding meaning and purpose in our daily lives and our relationships, in work and in our communities. Hope is about recognizing that even small acts of kindness can ripple outward, creating a more compassionate and connected world. And now, as you're willing and able, please stand and join hands with the person next to you. And now back to the question that I was asked. What do I say to someone to help them have a sense of hope and not fall into despair? And this is what I will say to you. Hope is not always easy. There will be times when you feel overwhelmed, that life is too heavy, and you may start to fall into despair. I've certainly been there. In those moments, it's important to remember that we are not alone. You do not have to walk into the next year by yourself. We are part of a larger community, a network of individuals who share our values and our commitment to creating a better world. We can draw strength and inspiration from each other, from the stories of those who have come before us, and from the hope that burns within our own hearts. We must acknowledge the brokenness of our world while remaining determined to make it whole. We must see what may seem hopeless and choose to act as if hope is not only possible, but inevitable. Let us remember that hope is not a solitary pursuit. Like I said, we are part of a larger community, a diverse tapestry of individuals. Together, we can create a future that reflects our deepest aspirations. We can draw strength and inspiration from each other, from the stories of those who have come before us, and the hope that burns within our own hearts. In the face of despair, we must remember that we are not alone. In the face of adversity, let us choose hope. Let us choose to act, to love, to create, and to build a world that is worthy of our highest ideals. Let us hold on to hope with bruised knuckles and unwavering determination, knowing that our collective efforts can shape a better future for all. Amen. May it be so. Blessed be. Please remain standing and turn to hymn number 396 in the hymn 126 in the gray hymnal, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Proclaim the truth that makes us free. of worship, turn and greet your neighbor.
Change is coming.
I got one. It's for him, right?
Where'd you count? It's a moving figure. Did you count people? Did you count people?